Because I don't like to be late, and I don't believe in being late, because the prophet said, why do you say it? You do a thing, you don't do it. But I would absolutely set it up to see how this person really is. I'm just telling you like it is. To me, that's hikmah. That's just strategy. But I'm gonna take a road trip with you, because let me tell you, when you travel with people and you're sitting in a car for about 4 hours, it's like saying, how much longer, Mom? Well, see, no matter how old you get, it's still how much longer. People, it's like a whole different person comes out. I said, I need to stop. I'm hungry. And find out how they act. You got to weigh it out based on what has already occurred.
Well, it's just hard because nothing's occurred. It's just nowadays my daughter's in that age where people will see her at an event and then they go back to their state, give you a call, and you don't know them, they don't know, other than just the initials, I saw your daughter. And so it's
then I would keep the lines of communication, and I would have conversations like this. If this happens, how would you handle it? What do you think about phone conversations?
Are you communicating directly with the boy, the man, or
no? Like usually the parents would call.
Yeah.
So the parents would call and say, "We saw your daughter. We're interested. You have a son. Blah blah blah. We'd like to see, are you guys interested?" And for her to get married. If they would have coffee, or some people say, "How about if we let them talk to each other before we fly out?" And
a lot of that.
yeah. So it's hard to figure out. It's not like they live right here in Orlando. You do your research. They live in a different state.
And my recommendation to that is to sit down with that daughter or that son and say, you know, I got a phone call today. How do you feel about this?
That's the thing, like I think girls, and I just know from my nieces and speaking to my daughter, they think this fairy tale wedding, right? They go to these big, beautiful weddings and like, oh, okay, yeah. They don't know the guy, they don't know what's going to happen. So I feel like you have to be the boss and say, wait a minute. I'm not going to entertain every phone call that comes in. I'm not even going to tell you about them. If there's somebody that I think might be a good fit, then I'll bring that up. But like, you just don't know if you're making the right decision if the right person walked away because you thought they weren't a good fit for your child.
And see, I think, sister, the thing is to open dialogue. And in that dialogue, you are subconsciously teaching. So in other words, you find out where your daughter is and then what you need to address. Because you see, I'll give you an example. It may sound really strange. Kid comes and says, oh, Dad, I got to wear green tomorrow to school. Why you got to wear green? Oh, because it's St. Patrick's Day. Well, what do you know about St. Patrick's Day? I don't know. That's just what they're celebrating. Well, let's look it up. And that's a teaching opportunity to sit down and teach your children that all these bars that have the little green clovers, they celebrate St. Patrick's Day every day. and what it really means. You know, so, you know, not judgmentally, and this is where wisdom comes in. Do you really want to celebrate this ideology that's creating all these alcoholics in our community? Do you think that's healthy? But in a non-judgmental way. And this is something that's learned behavior, folks. And it takes a therapist to teach it usually. Because we just don't want it. Yes, brother?
I had a Muslim sister. I asked her about that. This is at work. And she said, oh, I'm just being a team player. I'm like, and I'm thinking, does she actually know where that comes from? And she's born Muslim.
Yes?
Wasn't St. Patrick's Day, I'm not an expert on it, but it was somebody who lived in Ireland, very important for Christians. It's so important when they made him a saint that they decided, oh, we have Lent going on at this time, let's take a break just one day from Lent, and that's where you have all the excessive drinking. So I know that St. Patrick's is just like Christmas, a lot of other holidays have transformed over the years, but is it really, if everyone's just wearing green, and it's just kind of that's what you do here, is there something wrong with that?
Well, here's what I'm saying. On a deeper level, I think it's the conversation, Brenda. I don't think it's the fact that you say, I'm not saying to the child you can't wear green. I'm getting that child to process that are you a follower of everything the world does? And do you agree with what it stands for? Do you understand what it stands for? Do you want, because let's look at something interesting. What is the ultimate goal of psychodynamic therapy? Does anybody know?
To know yourself?
Differentiation, which is basically to know yourself. So I use this example all the time. All my life, my mama said, boy, eat everything on the plate. Otherwise, the children in Africa are starving. Then I became a Muslim in the Indo-Pak community, where when you come, they give you 4 cups of rice on a plate. I have diabetes. 4 cups of rice is not good for me. As a matter of fact, it will kill me. So I have to decide, am I going to be my mother in what she said? Or am I going to be what my doctor said? That's called differentiation. So working with children to be able, it's teaching moments. And I think it's hard for parents because we have so much on our plates. But really and truly, this is the beauty of these teaching moments. It's not that you want to dictate. What I would love to do is that out of my discussion with my children, they might not be so sold on the idea, but not coming from me, coming from them. The intrinsic value of their awareness of what's going on. Because I think that's where we're missing the boat. I think that we're really missing the boat because we've heard the part of the hadith that says respect the elders, but we have not heard that second part that says respect the youth. And I was raised in a family that said, you don't do as I do. You do as I say do, and you don't ask any questions. And I think that is the most destructive parenting that exists. When you expect your child to unquestionably obey, then he's going to unquestionably obey the whole world. Because you set the precedent. Does everybody relate to that? Does that resonate with people? Yeah. So, I think we have a lot of work to do, but I think if I say to my child, do you feel respected? Do you feel like you can come to me and talk in a non-judgmental way? The greatest compliment they can say to me is yes. I can tell you anything and you will talk me through it. You will talk to me and you will not enforce your law. See, I have people that come to me all the time that want to make children pray. And if they are praying for you and not Allah, what is that called? That's shirk. There's no compulsion in religion. Now I can say to my child, and my children know that when they stand behind me and pray, of course I cry anyway, but I often cry because I'm so touched that we as a family unit are all praying together. Because that's my dream. But I cannot compel them to do what's not in their heart. There is no compulsion in religion. It's about 3 minutes to 1. I wanted to do a little sharing today. Mason, if you'll remember that it's slide 100. Any questions, any comments, any sharing that anybody would like to do in our last minutes?
I wanted to get back on what she had asked about. There's a lot of long distance meeting
Yes.
where, one's in one state, one's